Well, hello tubers. Today we're going to talk about some crazy Vegas stories, things that happened in the last week, and some general thoughts of things that happen to Canadians while in America that just don't make sense and are often illegal. Now, one of my favorite places to gamble on the Strip is at the Casino Royale. It's right next to Harrah's Casino, and it's kind of right where that strip turns, right across from Mirage. And the reason I like to go there is the craps odds are more favorable than all the other Caesars properties, and I think that's just fair. If you're wagering your hard-earned money, well, you should at least have reasonable odds to win it back. That's just my thinking. So this is a very interesting casino, and at night a lot of very, how should I put it, interesting miscreants kind of crawl out of the woodwork. And the place is kind of ripe with working girls and street people and some very, very odd folks. In fact, I recall gambling for about 8 hours overnight once, playing bubble craps in the back near the where the craps table is. And the fellow sitting next to me, every 30 seconds he'd get up and he'd start looking in the garbage can that was right behind him. And he'd do this over and over and over. And I was wondering, what's going on? Either the guy's mentally ill, or he's waiting for a drug drop in some sort of, beverage can or a piece of garbage or something. And he was just playing craps as a cover or something. But it was very peculiar and very typical of the things that go on in some of these casinos, like the Casino Royale. So I don't want to disparage the staff at Casino Royale, because they kept the drinks flowing. They're very professional, very decent people, hardworking people. So if you are in Vegas and you like craps, I suggest you do hit Casino Royale. Another fellow I ran into at that same casino, I get talking to him and I tell him I'm from Canada, and he goes, "Well, how'd you get here?" And I go, "Well, I just flew here and rented a car." And he goes, "Huh? You need a special license to get a car here, don't you?" And I go, "No, just your Canadian driver's license. That's all you need." And he goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah, that and a credit card, and you're in business. That's it, man." And he goes, "That's crazy. You should need an American driver's license." And I go, no, it don't work that way. This whole tourism business wouldn't work if everybody who came from out of state and out of country needed a special license. And you definitely don't even need an international driver's license, because they have all sorts of treaties. Which brings me to the #1 reason why Canadians are cited and arrested, and that's for driving with a Canadian driver's license in the US of A. In fact, many police officers all around the US of A don't realize that driving with a Canadian driver's license is perfectly legal in the US of A. I don't know why. In fact, there's a video of a Canadian driving a Lamborghini in Beverly Hills getting cited for that exact reason. I'm going to show you a brief clip.
Can I see your driver's license, please?
Yeah, sure. Excuse me?
I said, what brings you to California?
Why would that be any of your business? I'm just hanging out.
Because you have a Canada driver's license. You don't have a... Where's your California driver's license?
I don't live here. I give you a Canadian driver's
license.
license.
So that's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. You're giving me smart answers, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of something.
It's not a smart answer.
You're
not customs. I don't need to explain to you why I'm here.
Okay, so you need a California driver's license to drive in California.
No, you don't.
I find it very peculiar that law enforcement are not very well versed in the fact that tourists come to their country and spend a lot of money. Some of them live there temporarily, some of them live there full time. Many of them have licenses from around the world, and especially from places like Canada, where if your license is valid in Canada, it's valid in the US of A. It's as simple as that. But in spite of that being true, many, many Canadians are arrested, fined, even jailed temporarily or briefly for driving with a Canadian driver's license. It's insane, and this needs to be a training video for some of you members of the constabulary.
There's nothing you can do about it. There's no point to try to fight it. I won't listen to you. In fact, I wish I never knew you were gone. Going by with my head high. I go.
Now getting back to Casino Royale, man, the amount of crazy people and working girls that just kind of appear out of nowhere after midnight is profound. I was actually playing craps with an attorney from Kansas while his wife was milling around the casino. This very attractive black lady started hitting him up. I couldn't believe the audacity of it. And after she left, he said to me, like, I can't believe this, the brazenness when I'm just here with my wife, that somebody would try that. But that's Vegas. I generally have discovered that places that offer gambling attract everybody. A lot of good people and a lot of bad. And the bad people tend to come out of the woodwork late at night. I find there's less of that silliness going on in the morning and the afternoon, because these type of lowlifes like to sleep in. They got other things to do, I guess. Just my tip of the day if you want to do some gambling and avoid these type of people. Another interesting thing I always find amusing is when I'm talking to people and they ask my opinion or advice on something, or they're talking about a topic, and it's usually something that I really don't have any comment about, and I have no issue because I got no skin in the game, and I usually just pipe up and say, well, hey, I'm actually just a foreigner, so I really have no opinion on what you're talking about. And they look at me and go, what? You're a foreigner? You don't sound like you're from England. And I go, that's great, I speak English just like you do, but I'm a foreigner. And quite often they can't even guess where I'm from, and then I just say I'm from Canada, and they go, well, Canada, that's part of America. And I go, well, it's actually part of North America, but it's a separate sovereign nation, you know. Different laws, different constitution, different rules. We're actually citizens of a different country, and they find that very perplexing. And I find it amusing, the lack of understanding of world geopolitical, concepts, and how not everybody that you see in America is American. And there's actually even illegal Canadians down there, but they kind of blend in. I actually knew of a fellow I went to high school with who moved down to Miami and then New York City, lived down there for years, completely illegal, worked a nice six-figure job. Now, of course, this was the 80s, I think into the early 90s. It was a different world. Now, he shouldn't have done that, but he did. And I guess that was the advantage back, especially in the old days, that Canadians tend to blend in and we're invisible. In fact, if I wanted to pretend that I was an American, I would just say, well, I got a northern accent because I was born in Bellingham, Washington, or I was born in Detroit, or, one of these northern places where people kind of have a similar accent to what I have, and I just have to learn not to say "a" all the time at the end of my sentences. A. Another silly event that happened at Casino Royale is there's this fellow that suddenly, for no apparent reason, started faking a seizure and doing the funky chicken on the floor. Didn't look real to me. So immediately my eyes go to the other areas of the casino, because obviously this was a distraction. And it was done so that somebody probably could get robbed or something bad was about to happen. Focus on what's happening away from that area and take a look-see to see if you're getting robbed or somebody else is getting robbed, or maybe just get out of that casino because you might not want to be there when the shit hits the fan. But all in all, it was a very safe and productive time in Vegas, and playing craps for all, playing craps all night was like a job. I remember one time going into the Casino Royale, and I'd always put $100 down to start, and I went down to $8, and then I built that back up to $340 before I left the casino, because I had a general rule that I would not leave the Casino Royale unless I had won. And generally speaking, that's the way it always worked out for me. But I had to earn it, and we're talking $15 to $25 an hour of gains. And even though you're getting free drinks, it often seems like a job, you know, a jobby poo, you know. Most importantly, it was a safe trip, and I'm back here in Canada to do it all over again sometime soon. So that's my Vegas stories. Keep your wheels in the ground. I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.